to the next generation.
We can do better, and we can be better, because a better world is possible.
What does the world need?
To see the crew look like the world that I walk around in every day.
I want my legacy to be my daughter.
Making it better for those who are coming behind me.
I would like my legacy to be the story of my life and the story of what I did in Castle Hill houses.
I want to just be known as a great human being.
I want my legacy to be part of my ancestors' legacy.
I'm Nino Blue. I'm Rossi Charman.
My name is Michael Petrie.
I'm Dennis Clark.
I'm Chris Witherspoon.
My name is Ian Worstein.
My name is Jack Mazzola.
I am the Reverend Dr. Ebony Marshall Turman.
And this is my road to legacy.
(2019 to 2023). 2019 to 2023. Those were the 2 years that the first Black woman to win 2 Oscars, one for Wakanda Forever and one for the great movie Black Panther. Her name was Ruth Carter. So the Black fact of the day is Ruth Carter. Ruth Carter was born in Springfield, Massachusetts, back in 1960. She went to Hampton University, HBCU, a really great school, and she just put together this whole Afrofuturism way of thinking when it came to her clothing and how she made these beautiful wardrobes in these movies. She also did Amistad. She did Selma. She did Do the Right Thing. She has a book out now called The Art of Ruth Carter. She also did Coming to America, which was great. And she's going to be in Indianapolis this week at an exhibit at the Indianapolis Children's Museum, but her exhibits go all throughout the world. She also did Roots back in the day. She did the movie Baby Boy, and she did Blade. And she's the first person to bring Marvel and the Marvel brand into the Oscars. That's Ruth Carter, and she is our nowadays a Black History woman, and it's Women's Day of the month. I said Women's Day. Yeah, I said Women's Day. I said woman. I should have said Women's Month. But y'all get it. Ruth Carter. I told you my counterpart there, Curtis, is much better with this than I am. But she is, it's just I just had to put her out there because she's still alive. She did Crooklyn too. A lot of people don't know that she also did the wardrobe in Crooklyn, House Party, Rosewood. So many great shows and movies that she's done. And I just had to big her up. 2 Oscars. That's no joke. No joke. So that's the history of the month. Black History of the Month. Yeah, that's how I roll. I rolled it like that. How y'all like that? Was that good?
That was great, man. I thought it was good.
I'm glad y'all like that. That was cool. That was smooth.
Good job.
Ruth Carter.
Your mic, Kurt. We can't hear you, brother.
Oh damn! Sorry, y'all. Yeah, that was
Ruth
great.
Carter.
Really
Ruth Carter. I think you have a small connection with Ruth Carter. Or maybe big, Curtis. Don't you? I think your moms or somebody worked with Ruth Carter at one point.
Yeah, but I can't even, sort of how things be sensitive with
right.
I don't know exactly what she did, but I know that she worked with Ruth Carter in the past. And I think it was like some collaborative project.
Yeah, because I'm gonna meet her.
Knowles.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet her the day after tomorrow. I'm gonna meet Ruth Carter. So it'll be. Next week. I'm gonna meet her, and it's gonna be great. Hopefully she'll watch our Road to Legacy podcast and see that we were talking about her.
Well, she had a great exhibition, I'm glad you brought up Ruthie Carter because she had a great exhibition at the Museum of Art and Design in Columbus Circle in New York. And that was how I became acquainted with her, by trying to get my mother to go see it, museums. She don't do museums. That's and I was like, all right, she's gonna be into this fashion, sister.
Yeah.
She becomes the curator, breaking Ruth Carter down to me. And I'm like, okay, got it. I thought that was it. So yeah, man, Ruth Carter also, Afrofuturism, man. I think she designed, not designed, but I look at her almost as the wardrobe for the wardrobe designer for the entire Afrofuturism movement, if you will.
And she is. I mean, the way she
Mhm.
just brings her visions to the screen and to those clothes
Right.
is exact. Especially her drawings are exactly the way that they looked in the movie.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So she just just pushed up the bar when it comes to the stuff that we continue to do and the stuff that we just continue to just grow and invent. I mean, Jungle Fever, House Party, Crooklyn. Come on.
Yeah, those are all
It's
classics.
crazy, the
man.
range.
Do the
Right.
right thing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Love and
Rosewood,
basketball.
bro. Y'all know how I feel about Rosewood. And I'm saying, I didn't know Ruth Carter was,
Yeah.
creating the wardrobe for the Carrier family.
Love and basketball, it's all that
Yeah,
stuff. So it's very
Dolomite,
interesting.
Coming to America, Malcolm X, Shaft,
Yeah. That's our black
Selma.
designer right there. I mean, that's the design. I'm talking because he's in so many black cultural classics, and stuff, right? That she has designed the wardrobe for.
Yeah,
Yo.
93 she was nominated.
That's
93 she was nominated for Malcolm X,
Mhm.
and I think it was 90 something. She was 98. She was nominated for Amistad, but she didn't win.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
She
got
didn't
to, she hooked him up. She hooked his game up. You know how wives come in your life and step your game up
Right.
a bit on the
Yo.
wardrobe front. She
Like
hooked
a
him up. Let me
Baduism,
stop.
a little
Right.
Baduism.
She was the one that brought
Erica Baduism, right?
right. She was the one that brought that whole the king to Rwanda. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Stan Lee wrote it, but she brought it to life. With the king of the Black Panther being the king of Rwanda and how he would look as a king.
Wakanda.
Wakanda, right? I said Wakanda, right? I said Wakanda or Wakanda.
You
Am
you
I
were saying
saying it right?
Rwanda a couple times. I was just trying
Oh,
to.
I said no. I said Wakanda. I thought I said Wakanda. I don't think I said Rwanda, but I said Lukanda. I said Lukanda.
Okay. All right.
That's the
You
new
know,
one.
Martin
That's
be
the
getting
new
all
one coming
tongue
out.
twisted. Martin be
That's the
getting
new
tongue
one.
twisted sometimes.
Yeah, man. So that's
He got that
was
Harlem
the
tongue.
flashback. I wanted to do somebody that was kicking and alive and now, and that you can go see. And one more, last but not least, I'm gonna pull this up if I can. If y'all get a chance, go check out this book.
Bring it closer to the screen. What's the name of that book?
It's called
The Art of Ruth Carter. The Art of
guys.
Ruth Carter.
Breaks down what she looks like on the back. So it's a great book. I can't open this up because this is a gift to somebody. So,
Hey, that's fine, guys. If you are joining us from on YouTube or Facebook or any of the platforms, I'm leaving links for you to either see or learn about Ruth Carter, and I'm also going to leave an Amazon link if you guys decide to buy that book from Ruth Carter, so you guys can see that just in case if you are interested. Those of you who are joining us on Facebook and YouTube, you can just click on the link and you can get this information about Ruth Carter. And Doc, also, she has an exhibit coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I said it a couple of seconds ago. I was saying that it's going to be in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Children's Museum. It's going to be her and all of her clothes from Black Panther. And she's going to give us a talk, if I'm not mistaken, at the Madam C.J. Walker Theater in Indianapolis, Indiana, or at the Indianapolis Children's Museum. I'm not too clear on that, but definitely she will be in Indiana, and it's going to be great. It's going to be really a great time to meet somebody like that.
Awesome, and since we are talking about this is Travel Thursdays, y'all. We are going back, way back. we're talking about travels to Africa, right? And Afrofuturism, and I wanna start like just talking about who are you all's favorite African actors. Since we're talking about some of the movies that Ruth Carter did, we can start with Black Panther.
Well, as a favorite, I don't know if I have favorites because it's so hard to tell who's African and who's not when you're watching these movies. Because like with Selma, that actor wasn't African, but he was from an African background, but he was British, I think it was.
Who, David Oyelowo?
Yeah, was he
About the guy who
British?
plays Martin Luther King?
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
but
he
he's
British?
African. Yeah,
He
British
is
is just
African.
where he was born, or just where, you know, that's the location. So that's about
Right, right. So I don't know if he's my favorite. I know he was not my favorite Bass Reeves. I know that for a fact.
they needed someone with a little bit more of a domineering physique to play that. And so it's almost like, if y'all familiar with Jack Reacher, that's a show. Tom Cruise played the original. Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise played the original Jack Reacher. Tom Cruise is a banging actor, but he's short. And so, right, Jack Reacher from the books is a big dude. And so, right, so you don't intimidate me just by looking at you, even though you might, you know, whoop my ass. So,
right.
That's the thing. Those, you know, you need that. Bass Reeves should look more intimidating.
Right. And there's not a lot. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go.
Remember The Harder They Fall? Sorry, we vibing on
course,
African.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, The Harder They Fall. Delroy
I remember that.
Delroy Lindo. That's who played Bass Reeves. Delroy Lindo is a convincing Bass Reeves, and that man's way older than David Oyelowo. But in that movie, Delroy Lindo plays Bass Reeves.
Way more convincing Bass Reeves. All right, what about our guy Idris? Everybody love Idris.
Yeah, I double up on my Idrises, brother. I ain't gonna hold you. I like both Idrises. Idris Elba and Damson Idris. Damson is how both Idrises play top-notch gangsters, even though, you know, Stringer Bell is arguable and stuff. And cats may come at me about Stringer Bell and The Wire.
Yeah, but some of them may not even know who Damson Idris is. And if you saw, what's the show? What's the show?
Damson Idris is Snowfall protagonist.
Snowfall, yo.
He plays Franklin Saint.
Fire.
And that character is inspired
Freeway Rick Ross.
Yeah, Ricky Ross.
Real Rick Ross.
So two rappers took a drug dealer's name, Rick Ross in Florida and Freeway in Philly.
Right. I don't know. I don't think that I don't have a problem with them playing a part of a drug dealer. And I knew a lot of people didn't know that Idris Elba was from overseas.
Was English.
Elba or Elba?
Elba.
Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. Elba. Y'all know. Come on. And a lot of people didn't know who Idris. I didn't know who Idris Elba. I didn't know who he was. But believe it or not, I can tell that he was an American when he was doing The Wire. Yeah, because if you hear it, if you listen to him now, you can actually hear him struggling a couple of words.
Back then,
back
did you know?
then, then, you can actually hear him struggling with a couple of words if you listen to him. If you listen to him again, if we watch that again, you'll be like, "Oh snap! Okay, I hear it." But you didn't hear it. Hilarious. But I don't have them playing like drug dealers, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have them playing problems with playing parts, but I just don't like when they play our ancestors like that. I mean, and you know, because they don't. I don't know. I'm on the fence with that because when we say the same thing about Charlize Theron. Was that her name? Charlize Theron.
I'm just curious to hear what that sounds like, though. What you're talking about, that Idris Elba joint. So I just got to play. I got to play this clip real quick. You got to
research that.
No, I don't got it. I got it right here. It
was a time when he's inside.
Straight money, man. Government.
Right there. Stop. When he said money, man, you could hear that. Man.
Let's play that back.
We make so much goddamn straight money, man. Government come after us, man. Ain't shit they could say.
That's hard to catch, bro.
You could say.
That's hard to catch.
Crazy hard to catch. And
I don't know.
This is like 01, 02,
money man,
right?
Money man.
But maybe.
No, you added. Like,
yeah,
he did good with his accent.
So.
He did great with his accent.
He did. I can't even.
He did good, but you could tell that he ain't. Yo, when he curses, because that's an easy thing to do. Everybody curses in their language. But when he's talking regular, I can hear it.
Well, when he's talking regular, you can hear that British accent, but in his acting.
No, I mean in the
Wire. He's saying in The Wire.
In The Wire,
that British man, he ain't let Godfrey put it best. He said, "Bro, I thought you was from Baltimore." That's what that means. He said, "Oh, what is this? My chap." He said, "What the fuck?" He thought that cat was from, you know what I mean, on the west side instead of Baltimore. That's where he thought he's from.
Godfrey the comedian. Godfrey's funny as hell.
Godfrey the homie, man. Yeah, but I think. The conversation, it opens it up because, you know, these brothers identify with their Britishness for sure, You can look them up. When I say these brothers, I'm talking about the Idrises that we just mentioned. Idris Elba. I don't know enough about David Oyelowo outside of clearly that's an African surname, right? Maybe Nigerian. I'm not sure. Don't assume, but Elba is connected to his Sierra Leonean roots, or as far as what you can look up. I'm not even gonna speak about connection, but he's definitely as far as his Sierra Leonean roots. I don't know about Damson Idris, but why I'm bringing that up is in this whole topic about African actors that appropriate American role, or just let's not say appropriate, but they earn roles playing Americans, right? These are Black people that have had their struggles too, maybe some even harder than Black Americans. Just to be clear. But now, yeah, I think it opens up the door of discussion to African British or Afro British, African British versus African American. Right, it definitely opens up that door because we can't pinpoint Sierra Leonean. I mean, you can get your piece of kit, DNA, ancestry, piece of kit, whatever step right that's going show me what piece of pie I am. That's the reason why I call it a piece of pie, because now you sliced up into you 8% this, 7% that, 9%. I'm more confused. But yeah, just the difference between Afro British, African British, and African American, right? That they can often go back. So that's why I just want to say that too. That's why we lump brothers like the Idrises, Damson Idris and Idris Elba up in there. I don't know how much they connect with their African. If they would just, we wouldn't call ourselves just African, right? It's, if you're going to call yourself African, you're probably going to call yourself African American or American or Black American. Yeah, if you can, trace it back, right, and go back. You know your parents who know who they were and go
right.
Yeah.
Or if you are African, I mean, like I don't have I might have a problem with I don't know, maybe it's just the actor. With my man playing Selma, but I don't have a problem.
Martin Luther King.
I don't have a problem with a real African playing a part like that. Like for example, I don't have a problem with
Daniel Kaluuya.
No.
Daniel Kaluuya is the homie, man.
With Lupita Nyong'o. I have no problem.
Lupita Nyong'o.
I have no problem with no parts that she plays. I have no problem with no parts that she plays.
You're about to sound inconsistent.
I know, man. I don't have a problem. I guess because I love. I always give women more of the benefit of the doubt than I will a man in my life. Maybe because I was raised by women and I have all daughters.
Sounds a bit sexist.
It is. I always give women to the, and I think that Lupita being from Kenya and being African, right? Lupita can actually do that stuff. She can actually, play those parts. What movie she was in?
Well, you did bring up
what movie made her famous.
You did bring about 12 Years a Slave. That's an interesting point though that you're making specifically about Lupita and the roles that she's played thus far. I haven't seen her try to portray an African American character. A lot of her roles
12 Years a Slave.
Fit 12 Years a Slave, but it fits an African slave from Africa in America.
Right.
Black Panther.
It's not like it's still in the century.
Right. It's still within the same century. You know what I'm saying? So the context is similar. But then when you go to Idris or Idris Elba or Daniel
Kaluuya. We gotta get people's names right. Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes, absolutely. Because African Americans, we butchered it up. Right. Including myself. If you look at who else could we go to? We got
Cynthia Erivo? I don't know.
What about Jamin Hunsu?
Oh, right? Jamon Hunsu.
He's the homie. But also a lot of his characters are similar to where he comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like when he did the Gladiator 2, he played an African slave, right? I don't really have a problem with that. But then what about Chiwetel
Ejiofor.
Yeah, Ejiofor.
Well, if we don't have a problem with Lupita, then we can't have a problem with Chiwetel Ejiofor, right? It's the same movie, 12 Years a Slave. But he played other roles, though, for sure.
But he's played other roles.
But Lupita has as well, no? Has she not played other roles? She has played other roles. I've seen her.
Oh, she played Black Panther.
Yeah, right. But we're talking about
we're talking about
appropriating Americans. We're talking about appropriating Black Americans, right? So playing Rick Ross, right? Damson Idris and stuff. Playing, But I do put a distinction because we don't put enough attention on the civil rights movement in Britain and stuff, right? In Brixton, right? London, like that they have a struggle. Like, so I'm less sort of critical or scrutinizing in terms of my Afro-British brothers, and I know David Oyelowo, all of that. It's more about it's more like, okay, hold up, y'all could come over here and play these roles, but Denzel can't go over there and play that role. I'm talking
Right.
about Hannibal. I'm talking about Hannibal. And who blocked that? Tunisians, the Tunisian government in Tunis, right? And who's that run by? Arabic roots, man. Arab roots, right? And that's all good, just to be clear. But I'm saying we're talking about cultures here, and that was an Arabic culture blocking an African American iconic actor from playing the role of an African general, Carthaginian general, Hannibal, right? Who really should be up there with the Caesars. And if there's a Napoleon movie, it needs to be a Hannibal movie.
Absolutely.
Right? So
absolutely.
But that got blocked though.
I think if it was produced by Americans or by Hollywood, they might put Denzel in it. But since it was produced and made by them, they're like, nah, man, we ain't gonna let somebody infiltrate our culture.
Hannibal was a Hollywood production. That
was it a Hollywood production?
It was
Hannibal was a
production,
Hollywood
absolutely.
thing. Yeah, this was gonna be it's Denzel.
Oh, they wouldn't let Denzel do it. I thought it was produced by another outside of Hollywood company.
No, it was just gonna be in Africa and in Tunisia in particular. You need to be there in Carthage where this big battle took place.
Yeah, you asked the question earlier though about Lupita, and I was looking at her all the films that she's done. And the majority of the films is not far out from her African heritage. You know what I'm saying? She was in A Quiet Place, which was a silent film. She spoke a little bit. Us. She was in the Star Wars joints.
So do you have an issue? Do y'all have an issue with an African playing an African American? Period.
Yeah. Well, in A Quiet Place, she played an African American, and she did speak a lot. She spoke. She did.
That's what it was. Quiet Place too.
Right.
Well, she didn't. You can't speak too much and stuff.
Right. But she was talking
about correct.
You know what I'm saying? Quiet Place.
A lot.
She said enough. She had a dialogue in there. She had a lot of dialogue to show that she was an American.
It was very low.
All right.
It was
very
right.
It's a quiet.
But I do have one for y'all now. This was a controversial one. Harriet, played by Cynthia Erivo,
right? Yeah, sister's African. That's an African.
She's African.
Where's she from?
She is from Nigeria. She's born Nigerian parents.
Shout out
but
to Cynthia.
But she grew up also in London. You know what I'm saying? So there's that African bit.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to y'all, man, and it's a painful thing, right? Or I feel sad because I haven't done enough research in that field as far as acting goes, and the amount of Black actors that might be missing roles, and that is, to me, a true investigative thing. You'd have to take upon yourself.
Yeah, really dive in.
Personally, from just all the I've watched so many movies, as y'all admit, right? British actors are better. They're better, man. I'm sorry, they're better and stuff. And I love tons of American actors, but that training, clearly they did it. They've been doing it before us. But yeah, so I'm sorry. I mean, Daniel Kaluuya is one of my favorite actors. I don't want to see him playing Fred Hampton. I'm sorry, but I do love you in all your acting. So I'm just laying myself up.
But he did kill that role. Yo, but he did kill that role though. He did kill that
Fred
role.
Hampton. Yeah, I don't really like the movie. I'm just not the really fan of the
movie.
What
about
the role? Either, man. Damn, got something in common.
I loved his acting. His
acting,
right?
I
didn't love how they depicted my favorite Panther, right? In the sense of, I didn't love. I'm sorry, it's not even about how they depicted him because they did a good job. I just need to. They're doing their job. I need to do my job and tell the Fred Hampton stories I wanted to have told.
Right.
That's all it is and stuff, right? So I wasn't sitting. Yeah.
But they always do. That's Hollywood.
That's what they're gonna do.
You know, they're not gonna.
How you gonna sensationalize a sensational story? A story that's already super great. And they hit a lot of stuff. They hit some stuff.
I wouldn't have painted him around the thing. Like, if you're gonna do that, make a whole COINTELPRO movie, man, and stuff, right? Like
they hit so much, man.
You're trying to get at COINTELPRO and stuff. That's more a movie about COINTELPRO than it is about Fred Hampton. He doesn't deserve but whatever he's got. I'm glad that he's got something. But more than just snippets of him teaming up with the Young Lords and the neo-cons, neo-Nazis, or whatever of his day. They show that just to get the snaps and stuff, right? So it's not simple sensationalism. It's also, omission. You just omitting so much of the good details. And so you could this could be a trilogy, this whole thing, right?
Yeah, it could be.
The Panthers could be a trilogy movie.
Yo, but they also didn't really tap into your point, Curtis. COINTELPRO. They didn't really. That's what, like you said, that's what it should have really been about. I mean,
yeah, it's not just this guy and stuff, this one snitch and stuff. It's a whole design by the Federal Bureau of Investigation,
which is crazy. And as we continue talking about these African British actors doing African American roles, Kurt, you made a really powerful, bold statement, which was, these actors come from they come from better training, like the British training acting schools. We had a brief conversation with our girl Ramel London, and we briefly spoke about that. Briefly spoke about it because I think Martin brought it up, or I don't remember if I brought it up or Martin brought it up.
Does she have a stance on it?
I forgot what she said. I would love to go back to the clip, but I forgot what she said. You remember what she said, Doc?
Ramel had a stance on African actors playing African American roles, and the only reason we having that combo, right, is because
she didn't have a problem with that. Oh, my bad. She didn't have a problem with it, And I like I said, I don't really have too much of a problem with it. It's just that when they play those historical roles, but
the men, you got a problem with the men playing historical roles, not the women. That's what you.
I have a problem with the, kind of somewhat because I look at it like this also. The white South African, the most famous white African, that plays crazy American roles. I don't even think she ever did an African role. Maybe once.
You said Charlize Theron earlier.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. I don't think she's ever done it. Maybe she did one African role where she played an African. I mean,
the real role for her to play is a South African pro-apartheid
right,
racist.
and they never
that would
do
be
that.
great.
She's never done that.
She has not done that.
Has that ever been a project? I'm sure somebody proposed.
I think she did one movie, even though she gets more parts than these Africans, these African and Black people that we talk about. Even her parts she gets so many parts, man. Ever since she was young,
she's one of my favorite actors too.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite actors too. I mean,
favorite people to look.
Yeah, I mean, all the way through from Hancock all the way down to what's the one she did with what's his name, with Al Pacino?
Charlie's Angels.
The Al Pacino one.
Wait.
When he was a judge, the advocate, Devil's Advocate.
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, but she's never. My point is that she's never played any African roles, and she's African, and nobody really says nothing about it. You know what I'm saying?
Because we sensitive, we got a whole thing with us,
huh?
Right? Well, we sensitive, we got a whole thing with us.
Yeah, we very
like an actor is supposed to play different roles. That's why you act so that you don't have to be yourself, right? The last person I'm trying to be myself, right? Yeah, exactly. I want to be somebody else. So you should be, but we have a particular history, right, with acting in this country. Acting in this country is built off of minstrelsy and blackface, right? And Jim Crowism.
Yeah.
And so we're always on alert, right? That's why you can't even really use the word monkey around me without almost damn getting offended and stuff. Because it's like, you're not even talking about me.
Right.
Or banana, right? Or banana.
Or watermelon.
Watermelon.
I mean, watermelon.
Things that's innocent. And now I feel away. Where there's other people. And now let's just bring it back. Afro-Black people, right? Afro-Black people. Afro-British people. Excuse me, y'all. Story.
Black.
Right? Some story. You can demote me. But Afro-British brothers and sisters and people, right? Where I know a little bit from a movie I watched and just some reading on their civil rights movement. Obviously slavery, but in terms of a society built around the difference between Britain and America is Britain was here for years, right? Millennia, centuries to almost a millennia. By the time America is coming up, your whole country is built off of the race issue and race and capitalism, right? These are two things that go hand in hand. So now, whereas I'm just juxtaposing our quote unquote sensitivity, it comes from we came up in a different environment and stuff, right? So we got to be alert and cognizant of things. Whereas my Afro-British brothers and sisters, while y'all deal with racism, is your entire country built upon it. I ain't saying it ain't a racist country. I'm saying is it built upon it. This country was built upon it, right? So it literally it's integrated in every fabric of American society. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how that all works, man. And you know, I think do you think that I got a question? Do you think that a lot of these African British actors, because like you said earlier, Kurt, and we did talk about this too with Ramel London about the the migration of Africans to Britain. We briefly talked about that a little bit with Ramel London too. I think that was sometime in the 1960s. I don't remember the exact time span or the year. But they did have their own struggle. But my point is, there's a different struggle than African Americans versus African British citizens. You know what I'm saying? And it's a huge difference between the two. Like you mentioned a little while ago, like our acting came from minstrel cycles and tap dance and all these other minstrelsy.
Uh-oh.
Well, it could, but it could be a cycle too. You know what I'm saying? It was a time, you know what I'm saying? It was a time period.
I'm with you, Donald.
I don't need no water with that one.
Hey, Doc, you can put your stuff up, but I can't.
Right. Thank you.
Come on, Harlem Lip.
Menstrual cycle.
We all butchered up. I said, if you Afro black, right? The historian. So we all got.
But the menstrual, isn't that a woman's situation? A menstrual cycle?
Oh no, he ain't say menstrual. You ain't say menstrual cycle, did you?
I didn't say menstrual cycle.
What'd you say?
Warren always got to inject.
What kind of cycle did you say? I just want to know what type of cycle.
Did I say menstrual cycle?
Yeah, you said
menstrual.
That's
wow. Right.
I'm just saying. You said menstrual, so menstrual is, you know what? Yo, we'll talk about that in our health.
I wasn't even thinking
what do we talk about health?
Yeah, that was a good job.
Hey, come on, man.
We'll talk about our health. We'll talk about that.
We can use it. We can use it.
Friday.
We can use it as a metaphor,
joke, man. That was a real good joke too. That wasn't dry either.
It can't be used as a metaphor. It can't be used as a metaphor.
No, not menstrual cycle.
The bleeding of our culture.
No, this is when you give it up. This is when you.
This one you lose, Donald.
It was a menstrual cycle, man.
So we
was bleeding out.
An analogy, right?
You know what I'm saying? Brother can't.
But I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, we come from way back in the day where we have a lot of trauma and we bring that trauma into now. But I don't know, because I don't know that many British or African actors that brought that trauma, like Lupita. Right, Lupita.
Hold on.
Right. Lupita, she
admits
she didn't go.
What's her name?
Right. Not after that.
Lupita Nyong'o. But I don't want to make fun of her name, because that's kind of disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, but you know.
Right.
Lupita Nyong'o.
But her she admits that she never went through too much struggle other than what she went through when she was in, you know, acting and stuff like that. I mean, especially from that last movie that she did with the Women Warriors. Remember that movie?
The Woman King.
Oh, she wasn't in that.
Woman
King.
She in that? Yes, she was.
I don't know.
She was.
This probably was a typecast situation, right? So
yeah,
I'll check it out.
She probably was a big actor.
Because that movie got a lot of flack for not telling the truth about those tribes and what was going on in those tribes. And she was like, you know, I if I'm not mistaken, it was her or the lead in that movie.
No, it was Viola Davis. An
African American. Yep.
Great segue.
Oh yeah.
An African American.
But she was also
in an African role.
Yeah, but she also was in Woman King, for the record. She was. Lupita was in Woman King as well.
She was in it.
Okay,
she was.
So the lead was an African. The lead was an African American woman playing an African.
Good job.
Right.
Viola Davis.
And from they got a lot of flack from that. I mean, not because she was an African American woman, but because
about the truth of the story.
Yeah,
the accuracy
truth of the story, the actual truth of the story. Actually, they said it was based on that and all that stuff. But anyway, you know, it's just that she's never said her apologizing and talking about that movie, because after she did that movie, she had gone to those tribes in Africa, a place where she had never been before. And she was like, wow, I didn't know this. I did not know the history of
Viola Davis.
No, Lupita.
Oh, Lupita Nyong'o. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has a little small documentary on YouTube about her going to those areas and what she learned about how, you know, some of the people were oppressed by that tribe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Over the years and blah, blah, blah. But the point that we're trying to make here is, I mean, each one of us has a different feel about it. I really don't have a problem with it, man, unless they're playing somebody like Harriet Tubman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have a problem with it. Stop saying you don't have a problem. You got a problem with it. You got a problem with Selma Rose. You got a problem with Harriet Rose. Yeah, so you don't like it being someone who is a civil rights activist, abolitionist ancestor, someone who fought.
Right. But if you're a drug dealer and you want to be a drug dealer, and you want to shoot somebody in the face and you want to hang out with 50 Cent on the set, then go ahead and do it, man. Go ahead and do it.
You don't have a problem with that, okay?
No, because those are just forms of black exploitation movies that are put out just to oppress us and to make us think that it's cool to smoke herb, to run around and shoot people and act stupid. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, well, that's one aspect to him. But yeah, go ahead, I got you. John Singleton, I would say that he was trying to, just show life as is in LA.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So when you say something like that, Doc, do you feel that those movies like Boys in the Hood, Baby Boy was another black exploitation? Or do you think that it was, like Curtis was just saying, a way to show what was happening in our communities or in those communities?
Well, Boys in the Hood had a point to it. Boys in the Hood was not just about just the drugs, but it was about uplifting the young black male in those communities. Boys in the Hood
was about that? The movie?
Yes, because you remember when Boys in the Hood was in there, who was the black? There was always a black man or a black man. Yeah, there was always a black man that was like, yo, look, this is not the life that you want to lead. You don't want to go this route. This is
Same thing with Snowfall.
Right. Snowfall was different because you knew that was all about money and politics and all this stuff, where Boys in the Hood was more of us taking care of our own people when it came time to us, criticizing each other, saying, yo, this is not what's supposed to happen.
When last time you saw it?
Who was the man in Boys in the Hood? Who was the man? Who was the man?
You might need to go back.
I think so too.
Maybe I'm mixing it up with what's it called. But who was the man in Boys in the Hood that was
I'll let you say it. Donald,
that was the teacher.
Let you say who it is.
That was the teacher.
Yeah, who was the man that was the positive pro-black person in Boys in the Hood? We all know Trey's father.
Was it Lawrence Fishburne?
I ain't saying his name.
Was it Lawrence Fishburne?
I can't remember because you said that I might have a movie.
It wasn't Samuel L. Jackson.
Mixed up.
It was Lawrence Fishburne. That is
that's the movie I'm talking about. So yeah, so him being in that movie when he was telling them, yo, this is when he and who was it? Was it Cuba Gooding kid?
That was his son.
It was his son. Cuba Gooding Jr. was his son.
So Lawrence Fishburne's role and Cuba Gooding's role, right? And how he had to control himself, if I remember correctly, when he was in them streets, and how his boy had to control himself and then you had that one kid that didn't control himself. Where in Snowfall, it was the God in Snowfall, if I could say it like that, was about money. Where in back in those days, the God was about uplifting and where are we going to go with this after we get shot and blown up. Snowfall was I'm out here making it's all about this crack. It's all about this money. It's all about.
It sounds like the critique of someone that's prejudiced, of someone that didn't watch the entire show and just prejudged it, right? And is a little fuzzy on Boys.
I hated that movie.
Fuzzy. You got to be fuzzy on Boys in the Hood then, because Boys in the Hood is about exposing and displaying how drugs and crime and poverty are affecting black communities. Right now, there's upliftment in it. Why is there uplifting in it? Because that's what we do. That's a reality. We try to uplift each other. We try to expose how we got so many liquor stores, right, and food deserts that we exist in. That's what Lawrence Fishburne is doing there, right? But there are multiple people that play that role in Snowfall, even though this is entirely different. So Boys in the Hood is about the community and these friendship. Snowfall is about a young man, right, who could have been Trey or any one of them dudes from Boys in the Hood, about a young man in the early 80s looking at his situation and saying, nah, I want better for myself. Unfortunately, what he does and the route that he goes is seeing this new drug, and now you're about to decimate your community in order to uplift yourself. But that was the same thing that was taking place in Boys in the Hood. Gang violence, all of that, right? It's a lot of blood crip there, right? Ice Cube versus the dude that shot Ricky, or Morris Chestnut and stuff. So it's with the whole African thing, and that you brought it back around, right? These movies that you think, you know, that are a little bit more noble, they are in the same class of all the other movies.
They are the same class.
They're art. They're just art. Trying to.
I don't think they're in the same class, especially if it depends on the producer and who's doing it.
John
and what they call it.
No,
because
John
Boys in the Hood would be like a crime thriller, right?
John Singleton, same director, just so you know. But yeah, go ahead.
Right, it would be like a
same
crime.
director.
What John Singleton did
Snowfall
2
and Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the one who made Damson Idris, because we was talking about Damson. He was like, "Yo, you got to come to LA, and I need to just put you with the homies, basically, for you to, get that accent down and that mannerism down." So that's how Damson.
I just didn't. Maybe it's just the cast was different. Maybe I like the cast better, but I do know. I feel that there was so many positive and Boys in the Hood. When I watched Boys in the Hood, I saw positive role models in there, from Angela Bassett to of course Larry Fishburne that was in it, to Morris Chestnut who didn't want to, see, and then you have and
Franklin Saint is trying to make sure he don't become Morris Chestnut and Boys in the Hood. Now you ain't giving me and everything, right? Like I can't prejudge Franklin anymore. You know what I mean? Then I prejudge Ice Cube or Trey or any of these guys.
I think Ice Cube was just in the movie for that element of we got to have this villain in this movie for the element where I think Snowfall,
is not the villain.
whole,
in fact,
the
he's
whole
one of the
movie
heroes.
was a villain. You feel what I'm saying? I think the whole because another thing is it was a TV show, so it went every week. It went every week for 6 years. How long was that show on?
Oh, you talking about Snowfall now? 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hating on Snowfall that much?
Yeah, heavy. I ain't even right.
Yeah. I watched the whole thing. I saw the whole thing. So Boys in the Hood to me was a movie.
You hate watching.
Was a movie. Oh, I was.
He's watching it with a critical eye.
I was hate watching that. I hate watched that, and I hate watched. Straight up hate watch. I was hate watching that. I thought.
Samuel L. Jackson.
You should see my face. You should see my face when it was over.
I gotta watch this. It's coming on at 9. Hold on.
When it was I didn't watch it when it was over. I put a lemon in my. You know how you eat something that's really tart, like a lemon, and you like.
You said you put a lemon in your mouth?
You would suck on
you know
lemon?
How you make. You know if you eat something and you go like this.
Yo.
That's how I felt about Snowfall. I said this is another black movie that's not getting to the point.
Nah, it did
Boys in the Hood got to a point.
Nah, it did get to the point.
Crazy.
I think Boys in the Hood got to a point.
Yeah, you're wilding out right now, bro.
No, I'm not. Boys in the Hood.
At what point in time?
You have Regina King in there.
At what point in the time? And I love Lawrence Fishburne's role. I love Lawrence Fishburne's role, Angela Bassett. At what point in time did Lawrence Fishburne or any of the characters in there say that the CIA was bringing us in? That the CIA was
because that was after. But if you did a timeline, that's after Snowfall.
It's not. It's just a part of Snowfall.
You
need to go back and watch. It's the
Boys
whole
in the Hood
show,
came out. When did Boys in the Hood come out? In 91, right?
Boys in the Hood? Yeah, like in the early 90s.
So what was the era? What was the era of Boys in the Hood?
It's the 80s. It's
and what was the era?
John
it was 1991. It was 91.
And what was
91.
Right, it came out in 91.
The movie came out in 91, but what was the era?
The 80s, late 90s, 80s.
And Snowfall
early 90s, late 80s, mid 80s, 90s. Huh?
And Snowfall was the 80s too, right?
The early 80s to the mid 80s.
Right. So it was the same time.
The Boys in the Hood, the span was from 1984 to 1991.
Thank you for looking that up, big brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
a little earlier, even earlier. It has to be
that's what it was.
But not crazy earlier. We're talking about 2 years earlier. Like it's the same. It's contemporaneous, brother. It's the same time.
Yeah, but the story. If you were to put the story together, Snowfall would be before. That's when the crack came in.
Absolutely.
Nah, it took place in 1983. So it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Wait,
time
wait,
the
wait,
time
wait.
period
So
is
The
the same.
story is about Rick Ross, right?
It's let's not do that, right? Let's not. It's about
No, I'm
cocaine in
serious.
LA and the CIA. The relationship between CIA and a major black drug lord. So Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross, and his major relationship with a CIA spook and stuff, right? Bringing this in to the community, and
Okay,
that's just one story. The
right,
CIA
but
had
stop.
multiple guys doing this thing.
Yeah,
Let's be
yeah,
clear, but go ahead.
yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. So that was before. Snowfall is about how crack got into the Black South Central LA community, right?
Okay.
Am I right or wrong?
That yeah, it's about much
Yeah,
more, but that's a major
yeah,
aspect. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Boys in the Hood is the effects of what happened when the crack came into the community. Am I
Hold
right
on.
or wrong?
So you're
Nah, all right,
admitting
so
that Snowfall gets to something, right? So you're saying that
No, I'm
Snowfall gives you
saying
the
that. I'm
causes and Boys
saying
in the Hood
that.
gives you the effect?
I'm saying that South Central LA, because Snowfall kind of starts with it being kind of nice in South Central LA. They got grass, they got the birds chirping, right?
it starts off before crack happened in the black community.
Right, that's
So
what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
but the way you're
exactly
painting
that.
it, you're like it was nice and it was like birds.
Right.
And it was
Well,
before crack hit. They were
but
selling weed.
Donald, before crack came into South Central LA, it wasn't a bad community.
Nah, you still had gangs back then. What are you talking about?
Donald, there was still
You had the blood.
even in the show Snow.
Crack made it worse. Crack made it worse. It made it
Right, that's what
exponentially
I'm trying to
worse.
say. It was not a bad. It wasn't all of South Central LA and all the area was not. There were black businesses. It was not, and then it shows in Snowfall how that area declined over the years, right? So if you watch the 3rd season or the 4th season of Snowfall, when it was declining, that's when it looked like the Boys in the Hood look. When people were in the street shooting each other, and it was crazy.
Sir. Oh, I get what he's saying. I get what you're saying.
You
Just
get
like
what I'm
it's
saying?
getting
I
worse.
get what he's trying
It's
to
getting
say.
worse by the season. It's getting worse by the season. You're showing that.
It's getting
by
worse by
season
season.
4,
And in
season
between
5,
those,
he got to
right?
kill a
And in
girlfriend kind
between,
of thing.
in between those seasons is Boys in the Hood type of situation where the
Yeah.
streets are
Okay.
going wild. So what
Or
I was
afterwards.
saying, because
You know,
I'll take y'all
You
back.
said the
I'll take
freaks are
y'all
going
back
wild, or the streets
before.
going wild.
I'll take you back before the crack came in the community when I was in the military.
Wait, before you do that though, bro, just before we lose the whole African concept of
Right.
just and so just how we got to this point was why you liked the African why you didn't mind, why you saying you didn't have a big deal about African, quote unquote, African cultural appropriation of African American actors, right? Taking roles that Americans actually played in history.
Right.
And you didn't mind, except you didn't mind them doing that, like you don't mind that phenomenon that's taking
Right. I
place
don't
when
mind
it comes
African
to
players playing nasty, funky drug dealers, but I do mind if they're playing our ancestors who are trying to who have taught us how to stay strong in those communities, in the communities like that. I don't mind it. And what I was trying to say is that if we look at why those movies are being made and how those movies are being made, it's basically to cover up how the crack got into the community in the first place. And that was through Ronald Reagan and how the CIA got the order to come in and how they blamed it on Oliver North and how that all those drugs came in the community and created this
So when you say you don't
and
like
then they have
Snowfall,
actors
you don't
right.
like
That's why you
Snowfall.
bring us right back.
It
That's
dives
why we keep coming back here.
directly into
It's the
that.
only show that does that really.
The plane lands directly
I
in
saw that. I saw that. But the Snowfall, they talk about that, but they don't make that the
shows, it's
center.
episodes. What
They
you
don't,
talking about?
they don't make that the center of it.
That's the protagonist and the antagonist of the
That's
show.
how, these are the origin stories. That's why it's like, yo, you need to go
I
back and watch
thought-
season 1, season 2. That's
for
the
me,
origin story of
I don't
how
mind
this started.
Africans doing whack ass TV shows like Snowfall.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not with you on that one, bro.
You're crazy.
And I'm
Yeah,
so
you-
glad at the
you're
end of the
bugging.
movie that he went out like that,
Yo.
broke
Yo.
and destitute. That was.
But
that
did you
was
feel
great.
how'd you feel about the CIA agent that got murdered though?
Him too. I think they all should be killed. I think they all should be. Because if you're placing drugs and stuff in our community, and you're making movies about it that aren't really totally that sensationalize it. And if you're African actor and you're part of sensationalizing the black experience and problems, then no, the movie sucked.
He wasn't sensationalizing
The
it.
way they
I think
shot
that
it was dark. It was horrible.
but it was supposed to be dark. It was a dark period. It changed. We can't hear you, Kurt.
I can't hear you, Kurt.
You still talking about Snowfall, right?
Yeah.
It was whack.
You talking about it like it's a movie. It's a whole show. I can see you just saying one season or one
it's a
episode.
show.
You talking about it like it's a movie.
Because every week it was on and on and on and on.
Did you see the episode? Just in terms of acting goes. Just in terms of acting goes. Did you see the episode when he took LSD, when he got, drugged at the wedding with LSD?
When he was, I can't remember that one.
Well, it's just a master class in acting from brother Damson Idris, right? Playing Franklin Saint, a drug dealer who's got it all, drug lord who's got it all, and yet feel like it's all slipping out from beneath you, right? And having a mental breakdown. And he has a crazy argument with himself in this blue room.
That was great. Talk about filmmaking,
right?
Yo, talk about filmmaking, bro. Yeah, that was a great scene.
That wasn't one of my favorite scenes there. My favorite scene.
You had a favorite scene?
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
my favorite scene. My favorite.
You don't hate watch for 6 seasons
was between him and his uncle.
Bro.
My favorite scenes was between him and his uncle. Him and his uncle, the big dude.
You can't wait for the Snowfall clip.
Those are my favorite scenes. Is between him and his uncle.
Oh yeah, man, Jerome. Teach your man how to squat.
Because he showed. If you say that he was a good actor in that, he kind of showed his acting without breaking. You couldn't even find his African self or his British accent or whatever.
In none of the show, though. In none of the show, to me. In none of the show, to me, you could tell that he
was always in his face. You know what I'm saying?
But
trying to stop him from doing crazy.
In none of the show, you could tell that he was a British or African British actor. None of them. That's what makes them so good.
Maybe I like Boys in the Hood because it was all black actors, black American actors.
Okay,
Maybe
I can hear it.
I don't know.
I could understand that.
But you got Regina King, you got Angela Bassett, Morris Chestnut.
Yeah, that's a different argument. Then that's a different argument.
They were really good.
I can't disagree with you on that. If that's your opinion about it, and the reason why you don't like Snowfall versus Boys in the Hood, I can understand that point. But I'm sorry, Kurt.
I was just gonna say, man. I don't know how I know that it relates. This conversation relates, but I just don't know enough about it. First off, right? We mentioned Idris Elba. He's Sierra Leonean. We mentioned Cynthia Erivo. I forget where we said that the sister queen was from, and we mentioned Lupita Nyong'o, who's from Kenya, right? So we mentioned different parts of Africa.
The white one, Charlize Theron, the white
Charlize Theron.
There's white Africans out there.
Yeah, I refuse to give that too much play because first off, none of y'all are African. None of y'all are African. Not one single South African is African, right? Just to be clear, right? You are a colonizer who was born. Your descendants of colonizers. Your descendants of colonizers from the Netherlands, right? That's why the Dutch make up so much of the white population in South Africa. The Afrikaners, they speak Afrikaans, right? And they're discriminating against the South Africans to this day. So the Dutch, Afrikaners, right? The French, the Huguenots, and stuff. When you go back into South African history, all the way back to Cecil B. Rhodes and Jan Smuts and their entire, whatever. I ain't even gonna go further into it, but I'm gonna say that to say, I'm not even putting her in the kind, as much as I love a Charlize, right? I'm not even putting her in the conversation of an Africa, unless we talking about South Africa. But as an African actor, no, you're a white actor. Got to love you, gorgeous white actor. But no, none of you South Africans that are white that are calling yourself South African, you were just born there, right? You just like Malcolm. Malcolm said it best. Just because a cat has its kittens in the oven, they don't make them biscuits when they come out, right? They come out kittens. And so it's not the location that dictates, who we are, where we're born. That's just nation. That's just citizenship and stuff, and where we are. So
I guess we're
ain't
all
African.
We're all kittens,
huh?
I guess we're all kittens.
Yeah, to some extent, and puppies. Don't forget about the puppies.
Yeah, hey, we got somebody else joining the show, y'all. Got Sad jumping in.
What's going on, fellas?
Sad. What up, King?
What's up, King? I'm listening to the conversation. I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm just looking at your facial expression. You're going back and forth.
You can play this episode back on silent, right? Like,
I'm trying to send my message as quick as possible to rebuttal what y'all say. I'm like,
that's why you just had to come on, right?
Yeah, exactly. My thing about the whole show is that I don't understand why we separate black actors. If you're black, you're black. It don't matter where you come from. That's the way
African
I feel.
actors don't call themselves black, though, do they?
But I get that. I totally get that. But they don't look that they're not looked at as different as us if we was on the front line standing there. We all in the military and we standing fighting. They're not gonna take the African black actors or black people and put them put them somewhere else. We all black. But I get it. I get what he was saying, but the snowfall comments is like way above my head.
They're wild, crazy.
Talking about.
I don't like seeing
It was a spoiler conversation.
black people in nasty, whack ass ways of living, man. It's horrible when I see that. Even when I saw him on the floor when he became like a drug addict or something, and he was laying in snowfall.
Are they making it up?
That was great acting, but
are they making it up?
Huh?
Are they making it up? Are they making it up?
Is
that based off of history? Is that based on reality? Are they making it up?
I think it's based on reality. I don't think that they're making some of that up. Yeah, because those people have, he had his family and he had people around him, and there had to be people, no matter how much money he lost, or how much that cared about him. And it makes us seem like we're so stupid at the end. It makes us the film makes us look like we just can't get through those issues, those problems, which there's many drug dealers that have gotten through those problems and have grown. And one of those drug dealers is Rick Ross. One person that got through that and grown, but they don't see that, man. They don't show that in these movies,
but Doc, you're talking about a time,
especially if it's not a black African American. I'm sorry. I'm glad it was a actor. He did a great job.
But you're still talking about a
crap and
You're
garbage.
talking about a time period. You're talking about a time period. Rick Ross, after he was incarcerated, was reformed. But the show is taking place in a specific time period. So you can't tell me that you didn't know family members that were okay and then started smoking crack and then their life took a complete turn. I got family members that started smoking crack.
For the better, right? For the better.
No. Before you get to the better, they've gone through the worst. I knew neighbors that were crackheads, that were good people, became crackheads. Next thing you know, she becomes a hoe on the street. There was one girl.
At the end of Snowfall, was he for the better?
No, he didn't get to that.
When are we going to get?
Is that a reality though?
It's reality. We know people.
No, Martin.
That came out for the better.
Every crackhead that you knew didn't come out
better.
But Doc, every crackhead that you knew did not come out for the better. Now there
right.
is
one commercial. Smoke crack. Come out for the better.
Yeah, come on, 1980 Ronald Reagan, and Nancy Reagan. Just say no.
Nancy Reagan didn't have nothing to do with that. Go ahead.
No, oh Jesus Christ. Okay.
We ain't gonna never get to the Berlin conference in Africa.
I know we're trying to.
He gonna send us. He gonna send us.
Yo, but Doc, in Snowfall, this is the last thing I want to say about the show. Maybe not. There was a character who transitioned into something positive.
Please tell
him.
He
went back to Africa. What
tell him
about
that,
his
man.
friend that he brought in that was a drug dealer?
After
Franklin started going down, he went in the opposite direction.
It was
his right hand,
man. The girl, the one, if I remember, it was the girl who got him back to Africa. It was the girl's idea to go back to Africa, right? If I remember that right.
Yes, it was. Are we going to say that Leon? Are we about to take a dump, a number 2 on Leon?
No, but what I'm trying to say is that
that's what's about to happen.
It was a girl, the smart black girl, that wanted to go back to Africa and do her thing, right? What happened to her? I can't remember what happened to her.
I don't remember
I think she got killed. She got killed.
Yeah, that's what my point. Something happened to her.
Did she really? Did she get killed?
I think so. I think she got
killed.
She got shot. She got shot.
Queen with the nice.
She got shot.
No,
not her. She became
no, but he's talking about Leon's girlfriend. Sorry, y'all. We getting heavy in the weeds and spoiled.
No, Leon's girlfriend did get shot. From what I remember, she didn't die though. I don't think she died.
Okay.
I don't think she died.
I don't know what happened with her. But she is the one. He's
Africa.
right. She inspired him to go to Africa. She did.
Right. Yeah. She inspired him to go to Africa, which was great.
And he saved her life because she was stuck and strung out on drugs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
he took a dump on Leon, bro.
Exactly.
She wouldn't be going to Africa without Leon.
That's what I'm talking about.
The drug dealer. She wouldn't be going to Africa without the drug dealer.
Right? But Leon, being the smart dude that he was in the hood and organizing everything, and actually going to Africa and wanted. He couldn't just keep moving. His momentum wasn't, as a black male, his momentum wasn't strong enough to take him forward. It was just strong enough to take him to a certain point, and then all of a sudden he went back. And that's the thing that I can't, when I watch these movies.
Martin, is that not reality?
Is that not
reality?
Forward.
Let me ask you a question.
Leon survived, just to be clear, and he was moving forward. Let
me ask you a question.
That's why I call them black exploitation movies.
Let me. Do you say the same thing when you're watching a mafia movie?
I just said that.
Scarface, for example. No, you didn't just say that. You said Rambo. You said Rambo.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Godfather. Let's look a movie that talks about a family and history. See, Scarface talked about the Cuban thing and so forth and so on. We're talking about something where, as a family, we're getting off the subject, but family and how long it went from Italy to so forth and so on, and going back overseas and coming back and stuff like that. People that can move, people that can change their lives. You know what I'm saying? We never get that opportunity where we can and we sit there and watch these shows where we know how it's going to end. We know what's going to happen. And it's always drugs in the community. It's never anything. And that's why I like Boys in the Hood, because it was a little different. Even though it was in the hood, in the community, there was a storyline.
If you like Boys in the Hood, you got to like Menace to Society. Straight up. You like that one?
That was so long ago, I can't remember.
That's with Kane. That's with getting shot. That's with Loke Dog, man. That's with Loke Dog and everything. That's the Chinese. What's the freaking Chinese store they following them around?
Did I take that off the subject?
Don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah. But they are making fun of the whole ding dong, right? So and don't get Menace to South Central. Ding dong is nigga, right? That's what it says when you come in, nigga. But they
and that's
yeah, most of Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood is a parody of Boys in the Hood and
Menace to
Society, right? And also South Central. And there's a movie called South Central, right? So it's a parody over those three main movies. And there's in Menace to Society, Lorenz Tate is walking around a liquor store. He's like, yo, I'm gonna buy it, right? You gotta say what he gotta say. But it's all of the same stuff in there, brother. Boys in the Hood, it's the same genre.
It's all the same. It's all the same. And you know, it's surprising to me, man. We didn't mean to stay this long on this.
It's all good. It took us. Like
I just can't believe that you say there's no storyline in Snowfall.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying there's no storyline. I'm saying that it's not a good storyline for us as people.
It's not a good story to tell. You don't want that story told.
Black men, smart black men. You know, I just think that one of those men could have turned every time they tried to make a decision, a really good positive decision. They made a stupid ass decision.
Hey Doc, is that not something that we face with every single day in our communities?
No, we don't always make fucked up communities.
No.
We don't always make that. We don't always make decisions where we just end up being on the floor, cracked out. We don't make those decisions all the time.
But do they exist?
Leon didn't end up that way.
How did Leon end up? Depressed and sad and walking down the street all jacked up. What Leon was the?
You're talking about Franklin Saint, just to be clear. You're talking about the protagonist.
Leon ended up
We were trying to point out to you his second-hand man, Leon, who went to Africa. The only thing that made him sad was the fact of where his man's is at now, Franklin Saint. But he's good. He's all right. It's like Leon's all right.
We're going to stop talking about this in one more minute. All right? But listen, when he went to Africa, he had something in his mind that he was going to go back. But then when he came back to the hood,
to the people.
When he came back to his own people, he stayed for a reason. Remember that reason? Just think about that. He stayed for a reason. He couldn't get beyond the fact that he didn't have to be there anymore. There was a shooting. There was a murder. He got involved in some type of drama when he came back. I can't remember what that drama was, but it was drama that was some childish drama that just was drama. It was a bull. Just like that. I see that as the same as 50 Cent shows with this thing that he does here.
I can understand that.
Ghost and all that. I see it's all the same as that. I don't see Boys in the Hood like Ghost.
Snowfall is on a higher level than BMF. It's on a higher level than Power.
All the same type of show.
Power doesn't give you
is
Power
just
doesn't give
so.
history. BMF
It
gives you a little
doesn't.
bit of history, but it's cookie
It's a
cutter
soap
and stuff,
opera.
right? Give you a little
Ghost is a soap
snips
opera.
here and there.
Yeah, but they're
BMF
not.
is not as pivotal as Snowfall history. That's all.
It's
Right?
not. It's not.
Snowfall history is pivotal.
Snowfall. I grew up in that era. I was in the Army back in them days, and I'm telling you, it was disgusting. I did not like that show. I was a hater, like y'all say. I'm a hateration all over that show. I was like, come on, man. Come on.
So how much more time you got, Doc? How much more time you got? I know you got.
I got. That's why I want to go. I got about 15. I got about 15 minutes. I had a little emergency, and I got to run to the thing, but to the hospital. But I'm good.
Okay.
I can talk a little longer.
Are you gonna be walking? Are you gonna be walking around the same way? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be walking around
migrating?
the same way. And a matter of fact, I'm getting in the car in a minute.
Okay.
You know, so yes, and for all our viewers and everybody out there that's checking this out and just have to run around and do things at the same time while we do this, because we want to stay consistent and we want to make sure that you guys get the best of what we're trying to do as we move forward. Bye-bye. Anyway, so what's the next thing?
So the next thing that we're gonna talk about.
Snowfall sucked. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I'm vibing and just going out on Snow. I know you was gonna be bouncing soon, so whatever, man. Let's hash it out. Let's hash it out on the Aegis's.
I can keep the conversation going.
Yeah, we can save the rest of the Berlin conference for the next episode. That's fine.
Yeah. We won't do on the Berlin conference. It needs.
Nah, we can't because that we need to really go in.
We gotta get
Berlin conference. To really go in.
Berlin conference is no joke, man. I wonder how many people know about the Berlin conference. But go ahead anyway.
Bring to people's attention just surrounding acting. We were talking about African actors today and intersecting that with cultural appropriation. And we all, have our varying opinions on on Africans playing African Americans. Shout out to Martin for bringing up some African Americans that are playing Africans, right? Or an African American Denzel that wasn't allowed to play an African. Either which way, why is this even a thing, right? Or even a discussion and stuff? Because of the history, in particular, of Black America, right? And as far as we often have dealt with people appropriating our culture, especially in Hollywood. We reiterate to you again that Hollywood was built off of a minstrel, 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 blackface society, a Jim Crow society, right? Jim Crow was an actor. If you don't know Jim Crow, look him up. Thomas Daddy Rice was the man's name, not my daddy, but yeah, Jim Crow in New York. There's a New Yorker brother too on top of that, and he's the one who really was the first dude to popularize a white man wearing blackface. To whereas now, that shouldn't even be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. Right,
yeah,
the fact that we don't want to wear black, meaning in the sense of like, damn, what's the sister's name? Zoe Saldana can't play Nina Simone, right? Which is a whole nother aspect of this cultural appropriation conversation in acting. But can't play Nina Simone, right? Can't put on some makeup to darken her complexion. Let's say you're a great actor and you are the better Nina than all of the other natural black Ninas they done brought up, right? And you're a great actor. Blackface. Black makeup is what we're talking about. That shouldn't even be a thing like that it's just racist. You did this, America, right? We didn't start the whole damn blackface thing. And so, yeah, we're sensitive about it now. We don't want to see it. And so, right, you say monkey in the wrong way and everything, my ears pucker up. Watermelon, all that stuff, right? It's just, this is what you did. I ain't do this and stuff, but yeah. I mean, we still enjoy our watermelon and bananas. We must still enjoy that.
There was this whole article that was written on medium.com, and it basically is talking about hating non-American Black actors playing Afro-American roles. And they bring up Idris Elba. They bring up Chiwetel. Am I saying that right, Kurt? Chiwetel Ejiofor. They bring up John Boyega.
Oh yeah, John Boyega. Yeah, I think the brother's Nigerian. He's funny.
Yeah, he's
that's the dude who played Tyrone. They cloned Tyrone.
Yep, they cloned Tyrone. And then Melanie LeBird. I don't know if you know who she is, Doc. Curtis. She doesn't have a huge career. But there's a few quotes that I wanted to just share. It says non-African American Black people need representation too. Non-African American Black folk are often more invisible than we are, so it should be a moral imperative to ensure that they do not suffer in silence.
That African actors do not suffer in silence.
Right, that non-African Black, that non-American Black folks are more often invisible than we are.
Non-American. Wait. Okay, so you're talking about African Black, right? African.
Right, correct.
Right, yeah,
correct.
that's why it's all those
they're
words.
Saying, they're saying that they're more invisible than African American, according to this article.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Medium,
interesting. Right? Yeah, it's medium.com. I'll share the link in the I'll share the link in the chat. But one person said how one more quote I want to share. One person said, how can anyone be butthurt over Afro-British or any non-American Black actor? Folk training themselves as actors too have an American accent.
My biggest the man said folks training themselves as what? I'm sorry, that last quote, folks training themselves as what?
It
as
says
American?
The quote says it's titled I don't get it.
How can anyone be butthurt
over Afro-British or any non-American Black actor? Folk training themselves as actors to have an American accent.
Right. So yeah, okay, got you. He's actually coming back, or that commenter's coming back to the point where I love British actors and stuff, right? Like and the fact that you could do that. One of my favorite actors, bro, is Daniel Day-Lewis and stuff. The man I think he has the greatest range upon the planet as far as what I've seen in terms of movies. The man has played a freaking an Indian and a general who would have killed an Indian, right? Like the man is no joke in terms of Daniel Day-Lewis, Last of the Mohicans to freaking Gangs of New York and all of that. Right. And the Crucible, please, man. I had to watch that in school. Right.
Classic.
So I just love in general English actors. I think that they do have a better skill. My favorite Joker, Heath Ledger. And so I think they just got a different training. And yeah, shout out to them. All that being said, though, with that butthurt-ish is, bruh, do you understand the history of Black American actors being denied, Black American filmmakers being denied, constantly being denied? So in 2025, and you still see other people coming over that didn't have this experience for the past 400 years or the past 60 years, right? That descends from the previous 400. Yeah, it's going to burn some buttons, man. It's going to strike a nerve, strike a chord, all of that. It's going to hurt. It's going to emulate or provoke jealousy at the very least. Because it's like, yo, I've done this work, and I'm not being recognized. There's so many Black American actors not being recognized. So I'm never going to be upset at someone losing out because the other person had better skill set. Right? That I'm not. So that's why I said. So
then you're not with DEI?
I'm always gonna. No, that's even that. Like in terms of that being a response. I know it's funny. I know but that is what is being put out. Is that DEI people don't have the qualifications? You get a huge middle finger from me, bro, and everything. Right? 9 times out of 10, 10.5 times out of 10, those people have worked 10 times harder. Right? So that's probably the most qualified person that you want flying your plane or operating on you as the surgeon. And just to be clear on the whole DEI thing, Kamala Harris probably worked 10 times harder than Joe Biden in her life to get to where she is. And forget probably, she did, right? In her life to get to where she is. That just comes with the territory. If you're going to take upon the mantle, or not even take it upon, if you're going to look Black in this country and stuff, right? Whether you're African, African-American, Caribbean, whatever and stuff, right? Yeah. This is a country built over racism. Yep. You're going to see it soon. I
got to share something since we talking about Tucker Carlson real quick. I'm bringing Doc back on the stage.
Tucker
Carlson. Check what this ignorant MF had to say.
Good Doc, looking like he ready to ski down a mountain with the shades on.
This person had to meet lower standards because the
school. Let me refresh this.
If I have a Black female surgeon, my first assumption will be this person had to meet lower standards because the school or the certifying board was so anxious to say we have a Black female surgeon. And of course, it's unfair to the individual, but then the whole system is unfair. So should you be shocked that it produces unfair results? No. I mean, it's unfair.
It is unfair on the face of it and in practice and every other possible way.
Yes.
And then I think you showed a clip with a surgeon, right? That was on, and as an Asian brother, right, who's a surgeon that was going. He said, "Yo, I'm a board certified surgeon. You know how hard it is to be that. And they don't lower the standards for DEI.
She had like 12 degrees.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yo, Nollywood, man. If people don't know Nollywood, with all this talk about acting, I just certainly want to give Nollywood a shout out. Nollywood is a combination of Nigeria and Hollywood, sort of like how Bollywood did that. Bollywood is considered the world's largest film industry, and Nollywood is second. And that's just off of sheer people, right? There's like 1.4 billion people in India. There are about 240 million people in Nigeria. Just to think on Nigeria for them. We got 330 million in the United States. Is that right? There are about 240 million Nigerians. It's the largest black populated country in the world. Right. Brazil is second, I believe. But yeah, go ahead.
Yo, and they produce 1,000 movies a year.
Exactly. Nollywood. That's Nollywood. Right.
That's
right.
huge.
So just shout out to Nollywood. And but the actors we were speaking about today, I don't know if they ever got their start in Nollywood or whatever, right? But they definitely got big in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That I don't know the answer to that. Let me see what
see what comes up. See what comes up, man. Well, yeah, we wanted to just vibe on just some light stuff and heavy stuff about cultural appropriation.
Light stuff and heavy stuff.
Yeah, good.
But
mix.
you know, my heavy thing is how we're being depicted in movies, and you know, I'm an old a fan of old black exploitation movies and how they pushed the envelope back in the day, from Three the Hard Way to Shaft, original Shaft, and they was pushing it. I mean, especially Three the Hard Way. The Three the Hard Way. I don't know if you remember that story.
No, you talk about it a lot though. Go ahead.
But it was basically about yo. It was like it was basically about the white establishment putting something in your water, putting something in the water to kill all the black people around the world.
Like Undercover Brother and they clone Tyrone.
And that's where they got it from, basically.
They got it from
and Fred Williamson, Jim Kelly, and my man Jim Brown basically saved the world from this guy who was actually putting together. They was blowing stuff up. It was interesting because it showed how the Black Panther Party was in it. All these different parties were in it to show how people were part of it and not part of it.
Right.
But it had a freaking point at the end, and we were the heroes at the end. Every time we were the heroes. Even though it was
he can't help himself.
I'm sorry. I don't think Snowfall. I don't see Snowfall as being a hero. And what makes it worse is that they take an actor that's from Africa to play an African American part.
Oh God.
And we still don't end up being on the top of the game, man. I just don't get how we just love these movies. I'm sorry. It reminds me.
It's no different than Mafia, bro.
A white exploitation movie was. I don't know if you ever saw De Niro's first movie. I think it was his first movie. It was called Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Come on, man.
That movie was crazy, like sad. And sometimes I look at, and it ended with him being a hero. I never understood that. But I don't know why our movies don't end like that. I'm just saying.
That has not, just to be clear or whatever, I'm just going to say that has not been our story. It has not been a happily ever after story. Not yet, right? And stuff. And hey, you can have the hope for that in this country.
We can't win?
For it to be happily ever after. We've had W's, right? But as far as a happily ever after, you want to win in the end and stuff.
I want to win, man.
Bro, we ain't there. So you want cast a lot. Or you could want a story like Lovecraft Country. We get into the conversation. Lovecraft Country. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that, Martin?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you like
it?
They never finished it, did they?
Did you like the freaking season, man? Did you like the story?
I liked the first 2 seasons. I think it was. Was it one season or 2 seasons?
Yeah,
So
the
I
newer
like,
one.
yeah. They never finished it. So like I was saying, they never finished. So I never really got the end of it. But yeah, I like the beginning because it was
They left
historic. It was a lot of history.
sundown towns, things like that.
Yeah, they left it, but then then they started making it like, it was a fantasy situation, like,
Sci-fi.
with the girl that was a fantasy, and then and that kind of threw me off, just like with the movie that started off with Black Wall Street with Regina King in it, the superhero movie, the comic book movie. You remember that movie with Regina King, Night Watch, Black Watch, or
The
I forgot the
Watchmen.
name. The Watchmen. The
Watchmen.
Watchmen. Yeah, that one started. I think that was the best of the year of that year, and in the last 2 years, that was the best way to start off a series I've ever
With the
seen.
Tulsa race
When
riots.
it comes to when it comes to looking at us, because there was so many people that didn't know that happened, white and black, and they were like, "Yo," everybody was
What,
writing in, and that's the type of stuff I want to see. I just don't want to see just a drug dealer sniffing
but you're
coke and
saying,
shooting somebody and
all
fucking
right,
all day. I don't want
what
to see that.
about the 688 that just came out by Tyler Perry? Did you like that?
I've never seen the 688.
The
You did,
688
right?
about
No.
I thought he did. It's about
Kerry
the black
Washington? The black
Huh?
female male, the black female military women in World War II. The mailers,
Oh
like the
no,
Republican
I
mail.
didn't see that. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Oh well, maybe you're missing out.
No. I there's a lot. Some movies I just not attracted. That type of movie I don't
But
like.
but then you're criticizing black movies, but you're not even seeing the ones that actually show a heroic black person at the end.
Can you compare that movie to what's her name? The mathematician that got us to the moon?
What?
Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
You talk a lot.
Yeah, Hidden Figures. Can you compare it to like a
Yeah,
movie
why
like
not?
that?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So then
yes.
I have seen movies that have a great ending. And
No, but what was the point of bringing that up?
You
What was
said
the
that
point of you bringing that
you
up?
said I haven't seen it. So I've seen
brought it
Hidden
up.
Figures.
You
I
brought
like
it up like you
Hidden
had
Figures.
one.
I like the Hidden Figures.
You brought it up like you had one.
But
You were
I
like,
don't.
well, have
number
you
one,
seen? Can you compare it to? Yo, come on, bro.
yeah, because I don't like.
You thought you had one, Doc?
No, me personally, and Curtis knows this, and you heard me say this before, that I don't like any military movies. It's very rare. I only like Saving Private Ryan and maybe the other one. I don't like any military depicted movie because they're not true. None of them are. So I'm just saying that maybe that's why I didn't want to watch it. It wasn't because it was a black movie, because it was a military movie. And, and I'm sure that if it was women, they didn't show them in combat. And I didn't even see it. Am I wrong? I'm sure they were doing some type of service situation. Am I right or wrong?
It was depicted based on what really happened.
Actual units. No, they. Of
So
course,
what were they doing? Were they in
so
combat?
Were they?
The
females
what they doing?
not in
Delivering
combat
something?
in World War II.
Well,
Women
what were
were
they?
not in combat in World War II.
What do they call them? What do they
Yeah,
call women
they got,
that weren't in combat but were also building stuff? And what do they
oh,
call them? What were
Rosie
they
the
called?
Riveters, Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, but then there's a name for the Riveters. I forgot. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
It starts with a W.
Yeah, no, but it's about the it's a movie just about pretty much they solve the major issue, which is the morale of the army, keeping the morale of your troops up, right? And that was to make sure that they could hear from their loved ones back at home, and that the letters was getting to them that they would write back. But it was a mess when the 688 got there, when the 6888 got there.
And they made it
all
better.
Chaos.
Right.
Yeah, they organized.
I got one for you, Doc. And Curtis is gonna love this one because it's one of my favorite movies for sure. Did you see The Great Debaters?
No, I didn't.
All right, I didn't think so.
Yeah, man. These are the movies. Sorry.
No, that's cool. What about Just Mercy?
Who was in Just Mercy?
Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. He's an actor, I think, right?
Oh yeah,
NAACP?
he was a lawyer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. It bored me to death. I almost fell asleep.
Yeah, that gave me a virtue signal type feel too. I'm not into virtue signaling movies. And what's a virtue signaling movie? It's you're signaling to the world that we're virtuous, that this is a good thing, that we want to show a good story, and it's gonna be perfect, right, from beginning, middle to end and stuff. The good guy's gonna win. Yeah. So no, I don't like.
What about the Black Klansman?
Oh yeah, I saw that. I like that. That was good.
John David Washington, horrible actor. Yeah, at the end of the day, my like, yeah,
Yeah,
He's a horrible
I'm just
actor.
gonna have my basic. I'm gonna have my
He's a
basic
horrible
preferences
actor,
for
but that was a
acting.
good. It was a good movie. Yeah, I like
All right,
the.
Yeah.
what about Marshall? About Thurgood Marshall, Chadwick Boseman.
That was horrible because it didn't depict
Yeah.
Thurgood
Virtue
Marshall
signaling.
properly. Right? It
Virtue
was
signaling.
horrible. It was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. I was
Show
so
the Marshall that
pissed.
was really a playboy and stuff, man. See,
I
with
love.
both
That's
these
my
movies
favorite
too.
person in history is Thurgood Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
What
But
about
Yeah,
the
anyway, go
man.
Green
ahead.
Book?
And
You like the Green Book?
I like the Green Book, but then when it got to, I didn't like the way they depicted
yeah, I couldn't get out a while.
his
Yeah.
homosexuality. But anyway, go ahead.
Birth of a Nation.
What do you mean,
Renee
Birth of a
Parker.
Playing Nat
Yeah,
Johnson.
I
Playing
saw
that
something, but that was
Turner.
just
Well,
to me, it was like that's all right.
Virtue signaler. Like you white. What's a virtue signaler? It's a whitewashed black movie. It's a euphemized, sugar-coated down black movie. That's what I look at it. I mean, it
What
ain't
do you
got to be a
call
black
it? What do
movie.
you call it, Curtis?
A virtue signaler movie, and we're talking about black history.
A
It's a
virtue.
whitewashed, sugar-coated, euphemized version of black, black movie. It's something that's nice.
Woo! That's
Yeah,
deep.
that's all it is. That's all it is.
That's
Seven.
deep.
Yo,
That's
you
deep.
know,
That's deep.
you know.
All right,
So
what about the
you
Pursuit
gotta
of
show preference.
Happiness?
I didn't like that too much either, man. I'm sorry. Oh man, I didn't like that too much. The little
Yo,
kid. Oh,
I could
I
tell
didn't
you.
like that too much.
I could tell you one role that Cynthia Erivo played the hell out of, right? And I love Cynthia Erivo
Cynthia
just in
Erivo.
general. Cynthia Erivo, yeah. Cynthia Erivo also was in no, she wasn't in that. But she
Oh
was
yeah, I
in
like.
she was in this movie
I think
called
I know. I think I know what you're about to say, man.
the Hotel Royale. Damn, I
That
can't
was the
even remember.
best. That was one of the
You know what
best
I'm talking
movies.
about? You know what I'm
That
talking
was
about?
one of the best movies that I ever seen.
My
That was
God.
one of my
I fell
favorite
in love
movies.
with Cynthia Erivo, man.
What?
I fell in love. What is it called?
When she was singing in the mirror? Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, here was it's called Bad Times at the El Royale.
That was
Yeah,
with
Right?
Bad
my
Times at
man
the
that's
El
playing the old
Royale.
man.
Yeah.
That
Bad
was
Times
my
at the
man
El
that's playing the old man. My man that's playing the old man now.
Yeah.
The white lead. What's his name?
Jeff Bridges. Jeff
Yeah,
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
I like
Jeff Bridges. He's
Bridges.
great. Jeff Bridges is dope.
Yeah.
So no, that was a good one. That was one of the
And she
best
did an amazing
movies.
thing. And to me, she's playing a black American woman that is on the
And it was a
struggle,
kid
right?
with Hemsworth,
And,
Keith Hemsworth.
and a
Hemsworth
singer,
guy.
Chris
Yep.
Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in it.
Yeah, Thor. Right, he's
Yeah,
the bad
Thor
guy.
was right.
But yo, man, I just loved it too, just in general. But I also brought that up just so that we clear. It ain't about that this conversation could be misconstrued. Like, oh, these motherfuckers don't like black African actors. And nah, please, man.
I like
love
all
me some
actors. It's
African
just that
actors.
I want the story. I just need the story to be more positive when it comes to us, man. If it's not, it's got to go all the way to the other side. It can't just
But
be
see,
in the middle, man. I can't.
what's the idea of a positive movie? Like Boys in the Hood is not a positive movie to me. I love Boys in the
It's
Hood. It's one of
not.
my favorite movies. It's not a positive movie. And none of those. I don't go to those looking for positivity. I'm looking for straight
Nah.
entertainment, to keep it 100, right? I'm looking for straight entertainment. But
Unfortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately.
yeah, man. It's not that for me. Positive black movies, they are really hard to find. First and foremost, because the curiosity, as we were talking about in a previous episode, is just absent in Hollywood. About that's the main, dominant. We just spoke about Bollywood, Nollywood. Hollywood is where it's at, right? Hollywood's the OG. And yeah, it's not, so it behooves us to tell stories in a different way, and until we have resources to make something. But gold rushers, black gold rushers, that's a positive story. Black 49ers, that's somebody during the time of slavery and not acquiescing to slavery, but like, yo, I'm going to travel to West, right? And I'm going to get some, get some gold. Black fur trappers, black mountain men, those are people that looked a different way to take care of themselves. Black mariners, right?
The
Mariners,
Haitian
those
Revolution.
James
And
Fortin,
these are the things
but
that
see, even
I would
Haitian
love to
Revolution,
see.
yeah, Haitian Revolution is positive because it's the first black successor. Excuse me, let me not even, right? That's the Haitian Revolution. All these stories that are just outright positive. Reason why all I was about to say with the Haitian Revolution is that there's a sadness in that, right? Because you're fighting against slavery and trying to revolt. But it's the same thing could go for anything I just said. Black gold rushers, there's a sadness in that because your life is slavery unless you go west. Same thing with fur trappers. Same thing with mariners. Unless you're on the sea, unless you're on land, you're back to being a slave, boy. Right? So, any of our stories are going to have some sadness to them. It's what's our rubric for positivity? What are we considering positive?
Right.
Is it like a happy ending? Yeah, that is gonna be.
It
I
doesn't have
wouldn't.
to be.
I wouldn't even have a happy ending. That's my.
It doesn't have to be a happy ending, but it has to be an ending that says that we can move forward, that we can go on. And I got that.
Right.
For some
Right.
reason, I got that in Boys in the Hood. I got that. Okay, this is
Okay.
not the end of this story. This
Okay.
story is going to go on because we're resilient, and there's men out here that'll do something.
What
But when
about
you
School
Especially on the
Days?
porch
when
at
I
the
watch
end.
the other
What
Especially
stuff,
on the
about
it's
porch.
School
like, yo,
Days?
man, I can't.
You like School Days? You like any
I
of the
like
Spike
all
Lee
Spike
black
Lee stuff.
movies?
I like all Spike Lee stuff. I like all Spike Lee. I like Spike Lee a
Because
lot.
he has positive endings in them. No? And
Yeah, I like
messages
Spike Lee.
and
I like Spike Lee. Spike Lee ends it with a song or some crazy doing the butt, something like that, you know. Sexy,
not always.
sexy. The end of the
Not
movie.
always. No, you talking about
Or
maybe
he
a
has
couple of
a
movies.
nice, or like
Damn,
more
you
better.
just generalized all the Spike
I
Lee's
love
films.
More Better Blues.
They
More
all.
Better Blues.
They all end.
More Better Blues is off the
They all
chain.
end with
He just
Hey man, you do it
generalized
in the
Spike
butt.
Lee's movies.
They
More
all
Better
end.
Blues is good. Yo, y'all gotta hold for 1 second.
When
But
you get
I'm telling
home,
you,
when you get home,
More Better
you
Blues
do
is
it in the
good.
butt.
But yeah,
Can
all
you do
night
it in the butt?
long.
All Spike Lee songs. I mean movies. They
All
don't
night
all end that way.
long. He. You know, and one of the worst things that I think Spike Lee ever did, and I love Spike Lee better than I like Tyler Perry. But one of the worst things when in School Days, when my man licked the girl's hair, man. That was I don't know what that was about. I don't know how that went, but it was disgusting.
That's the worst thing you saw?
In any of Spike Lee's movies. Every other movie he made was perfect. I love all of Spike Lee's movies. I just saw the nurse. Hold on, I gotta talk to this nurse real quick. But yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, why you we'll start to can't hear you, Kurt, but we'll start to wrap up.
Yeah, talk to
We're
the nurse, Ken.
closing.
Okay, start.
Yeah, just
Got me
wanted
crying,
to just thank everybody for for tuning into this episode. And our title is called Travel Thursdays. We're going to talk about the Berlin Conference, African American actors, and Afrofuturism. And we just got caught in a little rabbit hole talking about Snowfall.
No, we
Martin's
kept it all
opinion.
around. Yeah.
We did. We did. It did have to do with travel.
Acting.
Right. That's true. That's true. But when we get back to Travel Thursdays next week, we will dive into the Berlin Conference and get into that and why it's so important.
For today's time.
Right, in today's time. Yeah, absolutely, Hyro. Hyro said he'll rewatch it. Thank you, brother. Thanks everybody for tuning in who tuned in
I gotta hit Hyro.
with us.
Thank you,
gotta
everybody.
hit Hyro up. Absolutely. And this was another great episode of Road to Legacy podcast, man. We did an intro a little bit differently because we still trying things out. We're still, figuring out our niche or what works. So bear with us. But if you want to continue or rewatch any of the posts that we did or any of the videos, you could just go to our YouTube channel. And on our YouTube channel, you will see the older episodes that we did. How you can support us. You can we have a Patreon. We also have, you can go to our website as well, which is roadtolegacy.co. That's still under construction. We can hear you, Doc. We're wrapping up the episode.
No, I was saying something. I saw you wrapping up and I saw you talking about everything, but I wanted to say one thing before we totally wrapped up.
Yeah.
Everyone out there that actually hears my voice and hears what we're saying on this podcast, we're here to inspire, influence, and educate, but we're also here to give information. 5 calls app. Please, I know I keep reiterating this and keep bringing this up, but everybody can actually do something when it comes to what's going on in this administration and the lies that are being pushed around. Both sides are off. Both sides, Democratic and Republican. But we know there's certain things that's going to be attacking us as African Americans and as Black people and just brown people directly. So if you don't believe in politics or you don't believe in voting, you have to realize that there are things coming our way. So please be prepared. Call your senators, you call your governors. The government may be closed down on Friday, I think it is. That doesn't mean the world is going to end. That means your benefits may slow down. So if you're a veteran, you may not get your check on time and blase. They do pay you later on if the government shuts down, but we need to call our senators to tell them how we feel about our schools, about our health care, about our Medicaid and our Social Security. And on that point, I just wanted to bring that up. Please, that's information. You can do something about what's going on. Peace.
Yeah, man. We haven't even gotten to really politics because there is a lot going on. But yeah, thank you for dropping that, Doc. I also added the link into our YouTube page and on Facebook. Those of you who are watching us from Facebook or YouTube, the link is there. I think that's super important. Tell a friend. And yeah, another great episode of Road to Legacy podcast. Like I was saying, if you want to support us, you can go to our Patreon, / Road to Legacy podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That definitely helps us. And stay safe out there, man. And we will see y'all on the next episode of Road to Legacy podcast, where we inspire, educate, and influence.
Peace. Love you guys. Thank you.
Grace and peace. Blessings.
Peace and grace. Love y'all too. We out.